Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Uh, it's been a little while, but I wanted to come back again and talk about something which is very important. I humbly say that. um, as of right now in Florida, just to let you know, it's been stormy. We're hoping that it doesn't turn into a hurricane. Right now, we have a tropical storm in the west coast of Florida. Just, well, not just, but a tornado watch, which it doesn't ease me much, but I'm trying to keep my composure. With that said, I wanted to talk about something that has been in my mind for quite some time. We're at a time right now where information and people and situations are very important. And what I mean important is for us to be able to decipher and take a pause when we before making, abrupt decisions. It's super important. We obviously need to have truthful information to make decisions based on that. And as wise people say, you always have to look at the actions of that person or that situation. There's a saying where, judge the tree by its fruit, if I'm not mistaken. Someone who we really admire says that a lot, and I'll leave it as that. But I think that's how we say it. There's another saying, and we have this saying in the Hispanic, and mostly from, I don't know, in other countries, but in Puerto Rico, we have this saying that, tell me with who you hang out and I'll tell you who you are. I mean, it's very straight to the point. And in Spanish, we say, dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. And in a sense, it's kind of harsh in a way, but at the same time, it's pretty stern because one has to really rely on not only what is said, but what is done. So what I'm saying is, one can have certain actions that are very, um, what I'm saying is one can say things that are keen to being something good and benevolent, but it's important that those actions, if they're benevolent, the thoughts that are benevolent to be as well actions, benevolent actions, good actions. So those are the things that I've worked on for many years through my personal experience. And it started obviously as being born as in a Catholic family, and then making a decision to change because that I was not seeing it in people's actions. For example, a lot of people would go to church, do their prayers, go to confession, and then as soon as they walk out, they were just doing the same thing. So that was eventually a red flag, and obviously not able to use that as a tool to overcome certain situations in my life, and hence eventually I became a Buddhist, and that's another story because obviously my journey still continues, and a lot of us at this point have to create a pause, which I've done, and I'll talk about that further. But what I mean by what I just said, which is very important, and I've had that in my life happen many times. Recently, as many of you know, I did get affected by the storm that we had 2 years ago, Ian, and I had to look for workers. So thank goodness I got the money, but unfortunately, what they were talking about of things that they were going to do for me and my family and my home didn't match with the results and their actions. That was very disappointing, but it was a learning curve for me. But when I look back, I actually have this sense within me, but sometimes you just say, well, you give the benefit of the doubt, and you just you know, need to get the house done. You need to repair it. So therefore, he sounds good, in the background I have, well, actually, in my stomach, there's a little bit of a hint there, but you put it aside. You want your house done and so forth. Long story short, I had to fire 2 contractors. I had to fire a couple of handymans because what they say they were gonna provide me with, which is a good service, didn't pan out when it came to, their actions. And that's something in general I had to learn only myself, as well as myself, that whatever I say, think, say, and do, it's important that I act upon that and be an example that I am what I say and do. So in our lives, as we continue this journey, in order for us to progress as an individual and then as a collective, is to make those decisions. Um, and sometimes it doesn't work. Like it happened to me with the contractors. It happens in a lot of situations, a lot of scenarios. And I cannot, obviously hit myself over the head because I made those decisions. I did it out of obviously need, and I did it because I gave benefit of the doubt. But sometimes, unfortunately, one has to make really rough decisions in order to go through the journey that you are wishing to go to, which is not only going through, but getting to the point where you want to be in a mental, emotional, and spiritual place. And for me, that has been for a long time, for almost 30 years. I made a decision that I wished to be at peace. I wanted to be a good person. I wanted to do good. So obviously that didn't start from day one. It was a journey of making decisions. And I like to use this analogy, which is like a conveyor belt. I remember going to a sushi restaurant, and it was very tiny in Miami Beach. And there was a conveyor belt. So this conveyor belt had all these types of sushi and other types of Japanese delicacies. And you would choose what you like, and obviously in life is a little bit deeper than that. But, I just have this vision of people choosing certain things from the conveyor belt. And as one chooses individually, depending on the perceptions and knowledges and beliefs you have at that moment, those decisions obviously are going to create an effect. So with life, I cannot judge what my family or friends choose. I can only do as much as I can to let them know this is okay. I've been there. This is what happened to me. But I cannot hold them, tie them down if they want to, obviously go in the other direction. But I do my best to be an example, as other people were examples to me of how they walk through life. And yeah, my circle, because of that, has gotten quite smaller. Um, because I rather have a few at the moment that are going in the direction that I'm trying to go than a group, which eventually I do want to be part of a group that, and I think I'm getting close to it, is that they're going obviously based on their heart, in the direction of a heart, in the direction of actions, and doing the best they can. But at the same time, having that balance that other individuals as well are going through different routes, but hoping and praying that eventually we will meet at that middle place in the conveyor belt, that as we're making these decisions and we're growing, we eventually are meeting in the middle altogether. So I guess that's something that I really wanted to share, and the importance of, of pausing and observing and trying to make the best decision from there, and not be so judgmental if you say, oh shoot, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that. it happens. We are still in the process of learning and moving forward. And as long as we can acknowledge that we might have made a wrong decision, because all is this growth. As long as we acknowledge that and we are respectful of that, then we just learn and we move again forward and we choose better. And I hope that now in this important time of our life, that things are kind of getting really in the bottleneck of the nitty-gritty, that we can be strong and we can come together and hold hands and be strong, that we are getting there. And there's rough spots and there's rough people and there's but we all come from the same. So then there's the need to have not only love but the compassion to be able to not be in that place of resentment or anger or hurt or you know and that's where we're at. So I hope my humble short video gives some insight. Again, this is based on my personal journey, and I hope that with the beautiful people that I've met, slowly but surely we're like connecting like a network, and we're shifting things to a different outcome. And that's upon us. Not about it's not about anybody else. It's on an individual basis that we come together on a collective and we make this happen. So I am very grateful to be at this point with all of you, and I hope we continue to make our present our future. So thank you immensely. Have a good night, good day, or good morning, wherever you're at.